It was early September, the time when the air still carries summer's warmth, but the evenings start to cool. I was driving back from a ranger conference in northern Montana, a long stretch of empty forests, highway that cut through Glacier National Park. I'd taken that road dozens of times before, but this night felt heavier, too quiet to still. My radio lost signal halfway through the drive, and I remember thinking it was strange how quickly the fog rolled in, covering the road like a slow-moving tide. Around 10:30 p.m., I passed a faded green sign that said, "Old Timber Road, closed after dark." I hadn't noticed that sign before, and there was something about it that made me uneasy. A few miles later, I saw headlights in my rearview mirror and flickering like old halogen bulbs. I assumed it was another ranger truck, but when I slowed down, the lights did too. When I pulled over, they stopped at a distance, and then they turned off completely. I waited for a minute, engine idling, staring into my mirror, nothing, just the thick fog and the faint hiss of my tires on the damp road. I started driving again, trying to shake off the feeling that I wasn't alone out there. But then, maybe 10 minutes later, I saw something in the middle of the road. At first, I thought it was an animal, a deer maybe, but as my headlights hit it, I realized it was a man. He was standing barefoot in the middle of the lane, wearing a torn ranger jacket. I slowed down fast, rolled my window down just enough to call out, "Hey, are you okay?" The man didn't answer. He just turned his head slowly toward me, and I swear, even from inside my truck, I could see that his eyes looked wrong, like they were clouded over, as if he'd been underwater too long. I reached for my radio, but all I got was static, loud, crackling static that filled the cab. When I looked back up, the man was gone. Just gone. I turned my high beams on, scanning the road, but the fog swallowed everything. I sat there for maybe a minute, heart pounding, trying to convince myself I was just tired. Then, out of nowhere, my truck shook like something had slammed against the passenger side door. I turned the wheel toward the shoulder, hit the brakes hard, but saw nothing. When I got out with my flashlight, there was a smear on the door, like a muddy handprint, long fingers dragging down the metal. I got back in and started driving fast, wanting nothing more than to get out of those woods. But the strange thing was, no matter how far I went, every few minutes, I'd pass the same green sign, "Old Timber Road, closed after dark." I started counting, once, twice, 3 times. By the 4th, I realized I wasn't getting anywhere. The same trees, the same bends in the road, the same silence. That's when I saw the headlights again, this time coming straight toward me in the opposite lane. I flashed my lights, trying to warn them, but they didn't slow down. As the vehicle got closer, I realized it was an old Ranger truck, same make, same model as mine, but completely burned out, rusted, like it had been left in the forest for decades. Inside, through the cracked windshield, I saw a figure. Same man, same dead eyes. The truck passed through me, literally through me. My lights flickered, my radio screamed with static, and for a moment, everything went black. When I came to, my engine was dead. The fog had cleared, and the road was different, dry, covered in leaves. Dawn light was breaking through the trees. My watch said 6:17 a.m. When I finally made it to the ranger station, my supervisor looked at me like he'd seen a ghost. He said I'd been missing for 2 days. My truck was found 20 miles away from where I'd last been seen, parked neatly beside a rusted road sign. Old Timber Road, closed after dark. Every September since, I get static on my radio when I drive that stretch. Some say it's just the weather, but every time the fog rolls in, I swear, I see those headlights behind me, again flickering faintly through the mist, waiting for me to stop.